So now we've come to that point in our agenda where we will be starting the first of a series of our TED Talks, and we're very excited. First up, we have Seattle, the Seattle Housing Authority. We have, the title is Nudging Students Towards College Success. So we have Royal Allie Barnes, she's the Project SOAR Grant Manager. We have Abu Omar, he's an Education Navigator, and Caitlin Reddy, who is also an Education Navigator. And this TED Talk will feature the Housing Authority's the concepts of nudges, and describes the way in which nudges are helpful to students. That's all I'm going to say. And so I'm going to turn it over to the Seattle Housing Authority, and just as a protocol for each TED Talk, we will use 10 minutes for the actual TED Talk and then 10 minutes for Q&A. So we're good? Okay, thank you. Seattle, take it away.
Thank you, Maria. Are you guys good? Yeah? Full of food? My name is Royal Allie Barnes, and as Maria said, I am the Seattle SOAR Grant Manager. I graduated high school in 1964.
And my name is Caitlin Reddy. I'm a high school graduate of 2001, and I'm a high school and college navigator.
My name is Abubakar Omar, also known as Abu Omar. Graduated from high school in 2005, and I'm a high school and college navigator.
So we've all graduated high school and university, and our youth deserve that same set of opportunities. Today, Caitlin and Abu are going to tell you about one of their favorite tools, nudges. We have all experienced nudges. When your parents made those veggie faces to get you to eat broccoli, that was a nudge. We believe that our nudge approach is similar to the Thaler and Sustain Principle, 2008. In part, directly manipulate the choice environment by making minor changes so that the better option, which serves the individual and society's long-term interests, like being in school, intentional vocation, overall education, is made more accessible, more salient, and consequently easier to choose. So Caitlin and Abu's navigator stories and the lessons learned and their challenges are coming up right now.
Thank you. To help set the context of our work, we are going to start with challenges that we've encountered for the first year. They can't be changed, so we work with them to make an impact. So challenge number one is that we are very spread out across Seattle. Seattle has 1,500 15 to 20-year-olds living in Seattle Housing Authority units, and with our SOAR project, we are serving just over 700 of them. Many live in these Hope 6 redeveloped communities down south, but others are scattered in scattered sites or smaller neighborhoods where we don't necessarily have set office hours. And earlier we heard about the power of presence, and this definitely impacts the presence that we are able to have in those communities. Recently, I knocked on a senior's door in one of our smaller communities, and they were super excited to connect. But I stumbled a little bit when the mother asked about my availability. I don't have set office hours there, and we find that not having the set office hours definitely inhibits the power and the strength of being able to build a relationship right away.
Challenge 2, we serve one neighbor but not the other. Our communities are mixed income and mixed housing type. We might serve one household but not next door because they pay rent with a voucher. This is where careful language and actions are important. I placed the SOAR project interest form at the property management office for my student to fill out, but sometimes I get forms from people not eligible for the project. So I say, Sam, I have your information. Let me refer you to a service provider who can help you. I also send a follow-up email or phone call. I'm supportive without being abrupt.
And our third challenge is that our neighborhood schools are not always neighborhood schools. Our students in the SOAR project attend 15 different high schools, and in one community alone, our students attend at least 6 different high schools. So that's a lot of relationship building with school staff. It's made even harder. Our Seattle Public Schools don't have very many common norms or language in between the different high schools. And so we might be talking to one high school about their beyond high school plans, but another high school might not have any plans to even formally collect any data.
So the reasons why SHA youth disidentify from school, either daily or on a long-term basis, are almost any reason that they can think of. Miss too many classes, taking care of siblings, white kids don't like me, black kids don't like me, teachers don't like me.
You have to use everything you could think of to connect and keep them engaged. Let me bring that home for you. These Seattle Housing Authority communities are beautiful. Our youth can check off the basic elements of human need: shelter and food, safety and security, family, friends, and belonging. Yet some are still not going to school and graduating. So what do?
We have to be ready for every possible scenario. We know that SOAR is heavily focused on college-intending students and FAFSA completion, but for each student who knows their pathway, there are 4 others who haven't given it much thought. Leading a conversation with FAFSA has not been the best approach for us in many situations, so we have expanded our methods to meet students where they are and to help them get closer to high school graduation and a successful pathway going forward. Our students in Seattle have 1 week left of school, and some of our seniors are still saying, oh, I'm going to community college, I'm set, don't worry about me. But then I ask about FAFSA, and they still haven't completed it. So we need a different approach with them. In one community, we'll be putting balloons and graduation cards on doorsteps, congratulating them about high school graduation. And then in another, we're going to try a Share Your Plan campaign, where we will incentivize students with gift cards to continue to engage with us.
A constant approach to everything has to be anything, at any time, anywhere, and with everything you have. Take risks. Try many things. See what sticks. Be resilient. Readjust as needed.
Research tells us that explicitly telling people what is best for them is less effective than subtly cueing them through indirect means, Sustine 2013.
And those methods can feel pretty indirect, but we do have to build communication and trust. We have tried the traditional approaches, but this language just isn't working for a lot of our students. Our nudges have been a necessary complement. So I've been working with a group of young women for about a year. At first it was super sporadic, but by this point, they consistently come into my office every Thursday. They gossip, they show me Snapchats, they talk about the boys that they like, and through this conversation, I also plant some seeds around college and career and talking about grades. We're sitting at my computer, so I can pull up research about different schools. We can take a virtual tour. I do wonder if the time that I am spending with them is actually the most valuable use of all of our time. But then I do get a follow-up text that they wanted to know more about a career that we talked about, and so I do feel really confident that the Snapchats and the gossiping is leading them and opening up doors to new ways of thinking.
Some of our nudges have also been large and specific to the ethnic communities we serve. At High Point, I held a professional night with 40 parents and youth who heard from professionals in their own community. 8 of the young people are in my SOAR group. They learned that they can reach people that look like and care about them are professional. Some adults have exchanged numbers with youth and their parents. Youth have followed up with job shadowing commitments and got to know the neighbors so they know who they were actually talking to, a lawyer, a professional doctor, like somebody who they know up close and personal. Other professionals are interested in tutoring and mentoring them as requested by the parents and the students in the neighborhood. At Rainier Vista, we held a language-specific parents engagement night with the Somali, Oromo, and Vietnamese communities. Using interpreters gave parents a better understanding of the college process and how we serve youth and families.
These nudges are part of our everyday work, and it may look really similar to yours. In Seattle, though, we do try to reflect on these interactions, the ones that leave us feeling solid in our work and the ones that still have us questioning if we did a good job. We make these interactions intentional, though, and building those relationships and shaping new ways of thinking is something that we are doing. We see that when we are sharing coffee before a college tour and taking selfies in the fancy law library, playing basketball with students during lunch periods at school, working with a younger sister who's trying to help her older brother graduate, or even just sending a good luck emoji before a college orientation.
So we see nudges as opportunities for gently pushing, change opportunity. So we actually nudge ourselves. Our SOAR grant group in Seattle is over 68% Somali. So we wanted to know more about our young people and their families. What traditional values colored their decisions? How are they thinking about going forward? So our nudge, we hired a Somali consultant, a master of social work, to come in and to talk to us so that we be more mindful and intentional in our work in this community. It was a really powerful 4-hour session, and it now actually informs the SOAR work that we do in that community.
We nudge externally as well, and some nudges have been easy. Seattle Housing Authority contracts with a tutoring center that runs tutoring in 5 different communities. In one of them, I've been able to get a key to the tutoring center, and it's allowed me a lot of flexibility to when I'm able to meet with students. In that community, I hold open hours 1 day a week during tutoring in the evening, but then I'm also able to meet with students on the weekends. There's also crayons and computers to keep younger siblings occupied while I'm really able to engage with the families and the students around financial aid or scholarships.
Some partnerships are more difficult. I have 113 students in Seattle Public Schools. 70% are concentrated in only 2 schools. It made sense for me to request a desk at both schools to have more contact with students, thanks to the 2 principals who let me have a chance to have a desk, because I asked. After 6 meetings, I was finally able to set up an office at each school. Teachers and counselors recognize me. We work well together, engaging families and students. A desk in the schools is an important nudge. A student athlete in my cohort was acting out in class. The teacher couldn't teach. She reached out to me and asked if I could meet with her to talk with the student. If he failed this class, he would have to retake it. We sat him down and helped him understand that he could do the work and keep moving forward. As I was talking to him, I told him, listen, in my language, in Somali, aqoon la'aan waa iftiin la'aan, meaning the absence of knowledge is the absence of light. And then I told him also, af daboolan waa dahab, meaning a closed mouth is gold. And you have to learn how to be a leader in the class and outside. Just being an athlete will not get you anywhere, because you have to actually have a brain. And then as I was talking to him, I saw 4 of his friends, one who spoke English, or they call Spanish, and I said, hola, ¿cómo estás? And then I saw a French-speaking student, and I was like, bonjour, comment ça va? And he's looking at me, he's like, you're speaking so many languages now. I was like, and then there was a Swahili-speaking student. I said, Jambo, habarigani. And he's looking at me like, what are you doing? And then I continued just to show him that, hey, and then Arabic-speaking one. I said, Salaam alaikum, kaif halak. And they all greet back, and then we were talking. He's like, how do you know all this language? I said, you have to learn every language. You have to learn how to talk to people, and you have to learn how to shut up. So, after all this nudging, what do we know?
So after all these nudges, the 5 basic lessons that we've learned that we call our nudge lessons. Number 1, large events are an important nudge, but they really need to be culturally specific and really accessible to families. Nudge number 2, lesson. Individual, personalized nudges are key. These take time, and they take craft. It might be language, it might be culture, it might be personal relationship, but they take craft. And you need these for engagement and for really building a relationship. Lesson number 3, nudge yourself. Have the humility to nudge yourself. be in a constant state of learning. Number 4, nudge yourself into existing partner relationships. And you've heard this from various panel and also from the navigators. It's more impactful when you are in that student's space. And number 5, and this is like the big guy, the big lesson learned, there's no cookie cutter approach to this work. It's complicated. Navigators have to be nimble, resourceful, intentional, and resilient, ready to jump on each and every opportunity. So navigators must nudge. Can we give a hand and a thank you to Caitlin and Abu for the work they've done?